Alright everyone, today's video is going to be on backstory implementation, and it's going to go over how to make a functional backstory in a small part, because I've already made a video on this and I'll link that down below so you guys can reference that. It's going to go over how to make a functional backstory in a small part, and it's going to go over more how to make a very epic character story through tie-ins and callbacks and that sort of thing, and mainly implementing the backstory. So I see a lot of DMs not really use the backstory correctly because A, they don't have a functional backstory for their players, and B, they don't know how to implement it. So the first thing we're going to address is a functional backstory, right? And in my video, I basically explain you need to have a good amount of hooks. I say seven hooks within your backstory that A, shape your character's ethos, B, it lets the DM kind of lead the players without railroading them at all, without having to force them to go places. That's the main function of the hooks, is to push and pull your character, and finally it gives them things to implement in the future. So from this functional backstory, you can gain a lot of things. The best ones for implementation, the best things to have for implementation are mysteries, like a missing parent a la Veosinio from Dungeons of Drakenheim, which is also doubles as a hook that she can be pushed and pulled with. So it's a missing parent, or one of my own personal players, his father was a drunk, an abusive drunk, and so he didn't know that his family was very important, and that's the thing I can implement later on, is he has to go and find his father because they need his father to be there for some official signing thing, or he's the crown prince of this region that he didn't know about. Right, so those are some things you can implement later from either something they don't know, something they're looking to find, something they don't know about themselves, the whereabouts of a family member, the whereabouts of someone important to them. Those things are really good to have for the backstory implementation because, like Veosinia, it was a driving force in a very big driving force in the plot, was her trying to find out what's in the castle, trying to find her father. Now that wasn't the only reason they wanted to go to the castle, but that was a motivator for them to go there, and it was a good one too. And when they finally got there and they found out where her father was and what had happened and all that good stuff, it was a really good moment for the campaign. So that's the kind of thing you want to look for when you want to implement. Another example with my character Argo the dwarf, when he finally meets up with his uncle and he finds out more about his family, it's going to be a big moment for him because his character has always kind of been resentful at life for giving him this father, and then he's going to get a new father figure in the form of his uncle, and he's kind of got one in the form of his battle buddy. His character is 13. I know that's younger than the official ages, but who really cares? And so, it's going to be a really good moment when he finally comes into everything that he's been feeling that he misses in his life. Now, DMs, here's a pro tip: the less the player characters know about the mysteries in their backstory, the better. Like if I had told Argo, hey, yeah, you're actually a royal family and you're part of this really important thing and all this extra stuff, is that going to be the most fun to him, or is uncovering the mystery going to be more fun to him? So, DMs, pro tip: when you're making your functional backstory with your player characters, make sure to leave a lot of mystery, right? Like if you have a warlock player character and they haven't decided their patron, make it as mysterious as you can. That way you can have a lot of hooks, a lot of revelations about said patron. Maybe good, maybe bad. Who knows, right? But the more mystery there is, the more ways you can take it. And DMs, here's another pro tip: what the players don't know can't hurt them. I'm going to make a video on this. What the players don't know, and there's so much they don't know, can't hurt them, okay? If your warlock patrons was originally going to be a celestial being, and as the game progresses you realize it would be a better payoff if it were a demonic being, you can do that as long as you've laid the foundations through a mysterious backstory and vague interactions and vague foreshadowing. You can do basically anything, and the more you set yourself up to be able to say this was how it was the whole time, the better it's going to feel to your players when you reveal the final ending. Because DMs, you shouldn't have the final ending planned out. Yes, it is good to have the overarching bag made, but all the player's story arc, you shouldn't have that made yet. You should kind of be building it. You should have a skeleton, an outline, but you should finish it and build it out as they play to find out what would be the best payoff for them, because the better the payoff is for them, the better the payoff is for you. And the more you do your vague foreshadowing and the more you set yourself up to be able to do anything that you want, the better it's going to be, the more flexible you're going to be able to be with what you finally implement. And that's going to be able to let yourself give them the best possible payoff. Because at the beginning, you're not going to know what's best for how this character arc is going to flow. By the sessions in the middle of the campaign, you're going to have a very good idea, and then you can start laying down some more concrete things, kind of declaring some things, absolutely removing some of the shadows, and they can have this awesome feeling of solving all these mysteries and figuring out what's really going on by that time, and boom, you've given yourself a huge success, and you've set yourself up to just land this critical strike and get this huge emotional payoff. And that's really what it's about, is that awesome moment. And this is what you can do with implementing backstory. So as I said before, there's five or so things that you can use. Something they don't know, something they want to know, something they don't know about their family, something they don't know about themselves, something they want to find, someone they want to find. In the case of Eosinia, or it could be, like one of my characters, Dahi. I didn't know this from his backstory, but as he started to play, he felt that his character would want to try and become the king to solve things. And quick lore dump, there's a tyrant king in place, and that kind of problems going on. So he's like, I could lead the people better than him. So his character wants to be the king, and that is something that I can use. I didn't have that originally. He didn't mention that originally, but that is something that I can use now, that has come forth from the character's ethos, right? In this character, the way this character feels, it would make sense for this character to want to be the king, and so that's something that I can use to implement, right? He finally faces off with the king, and he gets the crown, and then something crazy happens. So that's how you're going to go ahead and implement your PC backstory. The more mysterious it is, the more vague you are, and the more foreshadowing you have, the better you can be able to implement whatever you need to happen, the greater your flexibility is, and the more precise the final payoff is going to be. So pro tip DMs, before I go, don't be afraid to let your characters be descended from royalty. And it doesn't even have to be their parents don't have to be dead, their dynasty doesn't have to be deposed. They could be the actual son of the king if they really felt that their character would be that way, and that's fine. That's fine. Maybe they have a negative attached to that. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just have a boon. Maybe they have bonus gold and silver. Maybe they have some guards with them. Who knows? You're just going to have to be able to adjust for that. And if you're a good enough DM to adjust for it, then you should allow it. But if you're not, then there's no problem with saying no to that. But don't be afraid to try and allow that. That's my advice, is don't be afraid to try and allow that. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to comment down below about the best things you've introduced from a player's backstory. I want you to go to my Discord and go to the Storytime channel and talk about some of the best things that you've done in your game, some of the most epic ways that you've implemented the backstory. I want you to share and subscribe so that everyone can see this video. And I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Buck Crutchfield, one of my first supporters. You rock. Goodbye, good luck, and have fun in your games.